salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be recommending some romance books that feature plus-size heroines. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. Don't know what Trope Week is? It is a series that I do quite frequently on my channel, and it is when I take a whole week of posting back-to-back videos. I pick one specific romance book trope, and every single day I give you a bunch of recommendations on that book trope. It's kind of like a part 2 video because yesterday I just posted a video where I talked about romances with plus-size heroes. So now we're giving some love to our heroines, our curvy, gorgeous, vivacious, thick heroines. Absolutely love this trope, especially when it's focusing on body positivity. Like, it is so important to see happily ever afters for characters with different cultures and sexual orientations. It is equally as important to see different body types featured in romance books, and these are some of my absolute favorites. If you're looking for even more recommendations, there are a couple booktubers who have done this trope. Like, I know for sure Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl has done one a couple months ago, so I will leave her video down below. And I know my friend Avery also did a video featuring plus-size representation, so I will leave her video down below as well. I'm gonna hop right into the recommendations because I actually have so many. I have a lot of historical, some contemporary, some monster romances, so let's hop in. This recommendation is From Scratch by Katrina Jackson, and this is a poly romance. Heroine is plus size. Well, all of them are, so I'm not going to say that in every recommendation, but our heroine is moving into a very small town, and she is opening up a bakery there, and this town is very quaint, very small, very cozy, think like Hallmark vibes, and she ends up having a connection with the local police officer and the local firefighter. I believe he's even like the chief firefighter. Connection with both of them, and they are best friends. They've been best friends for a while. As she's starting to go on dates with the both of them, neither of them are really jealous, and they actually end up finding out that they have a chemistry that goes beyond friendship as well. So it kind of forms this beautiful, well-balanced poly romance, which you know is one of my favorite things ever. I recommend. I loved Katrina Jackson, and I don't think this is her only plus-size heroine romance. I believe Neighborly is a plus-size heroine as well. This one is a fan favorite on YouTube. I know a lot of other people love this one, and that is Blindsided by Amy Dawes. This is a romance available on Kindle Unlimited, and it is a friends to lovers romance. Heroine is about to turn 30 years old, and she's pretty inexperienced. She's a virgin. She's never slept with anyone. She's never been in like a serious relationship. There's a wedding coming up of one of her friends, and she doesn't want to show up alone. She wants to show up with a date, but she's so nervous because of her inexperience. So she ends up propositioning her best friend, who is this football player, and he kind of like gives her some lessons in steamy times. Yes, he does. For my friend's benefit situation, and it's really sweet because she trusts him completely, so supportive of her, and just loves her curves, loves her, and I really liked this one. Next up is Bad for the Boss by Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert also has a couple of plus-size romances, but this one is one of my favorites. Heroine is at her job, and she ends up getting hit on by like this sleazy coworker, not our hero, but this sleazy coworker, and she's like real sick of it. So she is typing a letter to her best friend, like basically complaining about this guy, that he's such a jerk, like he harasses her, all of this stuff, and she accidentally sends it to the boss, the CEO of the company. He responds to her saying like, come up to my office so we can speak about this, and they have like an instant chemistry and end up forming a kind of taboo relationship because he is her boss, but also has a little bit of like a romantic suspense to it because our heroine has a stalker, and our hero is kind of protecting her from that. So this one was a really good one. Katie Roberts does have a couple of books with this trope, especially in her Wicked Villain series. If you don't know what that series is, it is basically a twist on Disney fairy tales where the villain is kind of like the hero, like Jafar and Jasmine, Maleficent and Aurora, like all of these different villain pairings. The series focuses like on Carver City with all of these individual like leaders of the city, but they all frequent this one BDSM club that Hades owns. In particular, that have plus size heroines is A Worthy Opponent, which is I think the it's the third book in the series, and this one is Tinkerbell and Captain Hook. Tinkerbell works at Hades BDSM Club, but her contract is about to come up. Captain Hook is absolutely, completely obsessed with Tinkerbell, but she is kind of jaded from her past relationship with Peter Pan, basically. The abusive boyfriend, a part of a really large gang that Captain Hook eventually took over, so she's very hesitant to get in a relationship with him, but they do. Just have a dominant submissive relationship where Hook is the dominant and Tink is the submissive brat. So I love this one. What was also really cool about this one is Tink is a fashion designer and she does clothes for not only herself but like the women in the series, so you get to see her and her relationship with Hook like throughout the series as well. Another one is The Sea Witch, which is a poly romance between 2 girls and 1 guy. It is basically a romance between Ursula, Prince Eric, and Ariel. Wild, so much fun. I freaking love this one. Ursula is the one that is the plus size heroine and she is a dominant heroine. I have a dominant heroine, I really do. It's one of my favorite things, so this one is yummy. Okay, I have 2 with kind of similar themes. These do have plus size heroines and it does represent good body positivity. In both of these, the heroines are focused on like working out, but not in a way of like losing a ton of weight, just more so like building strength, if that makes sense. It's a monster romance, one is a novella, but they're very similar themes, so I'm going to talk about them. The first one is Muscles and Monsters by Ashley Bennett. If I'm looking down, it's because I have my list because I don't want to forget books. Heroine also owns a bake shop and right next door is a gym. One of the trainers at the gym is a werewolf and he has frequented her shop quite a lot because her baked goods are just delicious and she's really interested in him, so she ends up getting a membership at the gym and he becomes her personal trainer, but it follows their romance. If you like monster romances, I will just say our hero stays a monster like the whole book. The whole book. Okay, bestie? So, yeah. Yeah. Next one is Fit by Rebecca Weatherspoon. So our heroine works for the Food Network channel, if I'm not mistaken. And she decided that she really wants to start building a routine outside of work and going to the gym to like build muscle. So she ends up going to this CrossFit gym where she meets our hero who is a trainer, also a soft dom, and realizes that she is a submissive. Out of all the books though, I definitely feel like our heroine didn't exhibit as much body positivity as some of the other heroines, but she is really going through this journey of like learning to love herself and love her curves. It's not completely negative, but I do definitely wish this one had just a little bit more body positivity. All right, so the next few books, I have a couple of historical romances to talk about. I thought I had a bunch of these books like physical copy, but my room is an absolute mess right now. And I don't know where half my books are. One is 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake by Sarah McLean. That is a tongue twister. This book follows our heroine who is known as a spinster. If you don't read historical romances, it means she's basically like over the acceptable like marriage age. And she just feels like cast aside by society and trapped in like this spinsterhood. And she realizes that men like have all the fun. They literally have all the fun and she wants to live her best life. Here's a list of all the fun things that she wants to do, like be in a duel, drink whiskey, like all the stuff she's not allowed to do. And that she ends up bumping into our hero who finds out about her list, and instead of like telling her like not to do those things, he encourages it and actually helps her. And it forms their romance and it is so freaking cute. The next one is Queen Sized by Jessa Kane. It's a short steamy novella available on Kindle Unlimited. If you haven't read a Jessa Kane book before, they're wild, they're steamy, they normally have a zaddy kink, normally have an age gap. They're just like a fun time. Well, most of them are. Some of them are crazy. Our hero he's a king. He is a king and he is looking for his queen, and they're like this whole competition of like basically girls competing to like show him that they're worthy of being his queen. Well, it's not just him, it's like an auction basically that all of these men can go to and like buy their wives and like judge them based on like their needlework and their cooking. It's archaic, a little crazy, but our heroine needs to provide for her family, and being the eldest, she ends up like joining this competition, and she does not have her eye on the king at all, but he has his eye on her. He immediately wants to make her his queen and like worships the literal ground that she walks on. Okay, this one is steamy, this one is delicious, and you should read it. Miss Kerrigan Byrne. Yes, Miss Kerrigan Byrne has a couple of historical romances with a plus size heroine. The two that I'm holding is All Scott Unbothered and the Highlander. These are both a part of different series, but you can totally read them as standalones. So in this book, our heroine is a CEO. She's a businesswoman in the historical romance time period. Basically like the CEO of this prestigious boarding school for young ladies, and she kind of takes in all of the people who have been cast away from society, and our hero Lord Ramsay thinks that she's doing something like nefarious, thinks she's doing something illegal. He is there to bring this boarding school down until he realizes our heroine owns the boarding school, and it follows their kind of like enemies to lovers romance. This book, our heroine is running from something in her past and she ends up going to the Highland kind of like as a governess. Our hero's wife died quite tragically and he is left with his 2 children. He needs like a headmistress to like teach them and watch them, and that is where our heroine comes in and it forms their romances. I loved the kids in this book. I love the hero. I love the heroine. Everything about it was fantastic. Editing Sam here. Ugh, I don't know why I keep forgetting books. I write lists and everything and I still forget books. I have one more historic romance recommendation with a plus-size heroine, and that is Trouble and Strife by Laura Kinsey. This is a short novella on Kindle Unlimited. I love Laura Kinsey. She writes very unique historical romances with a lot of queer representation. In this one, it follows our heroine who owns a bakery, and it follows our hero who's basically like an enforcer in his brother's gang, and he's really just this big, beefy, submissive, and he ends up meeting our heroine who's a dominant heroine, and he just like cherishes her, loves her curves, loves everything about her, and yeah, it's just such a cute pairing. Love a dominant heroine and a submissive man. I've mentioned that before, but I also really liked this one because our heroine has chronic pain in this book. It's not really mentioned what exactly she suffers with, but it includes a lot of like chronic pelvic pain, which makes intimacy very difficult for her. So it's interesting to see our hero navigate that and really focus on her pleasure. This one was just great. I loved it. So I highly recommend this one. I had to pop in here and recommend that one. So back to the regularly scheduled program. I look ridiculous right now because I took off all my makeup. So yeah, back to the regularly scheduled program. Really quick, a really popular one is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. Wow, I can't speak today. What words are coming out of my mouth? Christina Lauren, The Unhoneymooners. This is an enemies to lovers romance. It's contemporary and it's amazing. I can't speak today. Those are all of my recommendations. If you have any recommendations of your own, I would love to hear them. I would love to read them. So please leave a comment down below. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!